Yeah, I was sitting here loading, getting loaded. It's taking them forever tonight, but thought maybe you guys would like to know how I got started driving a truck, since things were a little different back then when I started. But I grew up on a dairy farm. Well, pretty much till I was about 12, and Dad ended up quitting that. He bought a truck, and he went over the road trucking. East Coast was his thing, you know. But turned 18. I had a bad motorcycle wreck too. When I was 18. I'll probably tell that story someday too. But anyways, I was 19, out of school. Couldn't even get a job back then unless you knew somebody. So I had an uncle. He was working to run and receiving for Daily Express. They make like microwave sandwiches and stuff. They're pretty big up here. A lot of gas stations got them. And anyways, he got me in there washing racks. My Uncle Dan did. So I started off in the plant, bottom. You couldn't get any lower than washing racks. $5.50 an hour. I was soaked all day long, covered in bird shit, but I went every day and just kept washing them racks, talking to people, you know. Got to be friends with a lot of people around there. You know, I worked real hard washing racks, and oh, they were a horrible mess. But anyways, then they had a job posting for parts runner. They posted it. Plant manager told me I should put my name in for it. She goes, "You drive a van, you just run around the cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul area, picking up parts for whatever people need. You know, we had line mechanics to keep the lines running and stuff." So I was like, okay, so I put my name in on that. I got a raise. They give me the job right away. So I put my name in. They said, posting has to stay up for 3 days, but they said, don't worry, Steve, that's your job. So then they give me a raise. I went up to like $6.50. And a buck an hour is noticeable, you know, so I was happy doing that. And then when I wasn't running after parts or delivering packages or their head office, they'd have shit. I'd do courier stuff for them, you know, go pick up a package or, you know, go deliver something. Or so I was kind of enjoying that job. But then when I wasn't, I'd work in building maintenance, you know, change light bulbs and build shelves and electrical work and some of that stuff I did. I was just a punk kid, you know. So then got talking to guys. We had the microwave room there too, is what we called it. They repaired microwave ovens, coffee pots, refrigerators, just crap. But got to be friends with all those guys in there. And they had an opening in there, and I was like, well, be kind of a neat trade to learn, you know. I'll fix that crap. So I put in for the posting, and I thought, you know, plant manager would get mad because I only did that parts runner for, that was close to a year, I guess. He did, and he got all excited. He liked that I've, you know, signed up for another posting, so got in there and got that job. Worked with those guys for a while. Great crew I worked with, and they're great guys, and just really, you know, really wasn't my thing. I'd sit around most of the week, not do nothing. Then Thursday afternoon and Friday, I'd bang out more microwaves than anybody else did, you know, just to prove I could do it. But then they had an opening on the loading dock, loading sandwiches. I was just a little runt, you know. I was in that accident, so I lost a lot of weight and stuff. But anyways, got in the loading dock. Good crew out there, very good crew. Good dock foreman, and You know, the dock manager, everybody was super decent out there, but you had to earn your money, you know. Oh, I had to work. There was stacks of sandwiches. You had to kick the rollers from underneath them. We called them dumping stacks, you know. And everything in their trailer, all their product went right on the floor. And you had stacked cases of burritos in there and all kinds of stuff. And every once in a while, they'd have something pop up, like go pick up a new route truck. They had these little route trucks with coolers on the back. And go pick them up brand new. And then I'd do that, you know, go as a group. But then all of a sudden, then they're having me run out, you know, all over the place. We out in Washington, drive brand new route trucks out there, you know, drop it off at our depot and get one of the old jalopies and drive that back so they can trade them in or sell them or just get rid of them. So I was doing that while I was working on the dock and, you know, emergency stuff, you know, they'd have, oh God, did rent a Ryder truck and have me take, you know, 3,000 cases of coffee down to the caves in Kansas City. And I was really thinking I was a big shot running around trucking, you know. And then got to the point, I got my license and then started doing, you know, truck runs extra that they couldn't get covered. You know, an extra load would come up. They'd let me go do it. They couldn't really get me on their insurance. You know, I was only 20, so I was running in the state. You know, I'd do like, you know, we called it the Northwoods. I think it was Pequod Lakes, Bemidji, Grand Forks. So I did get a little bit out of Minnesota at 20 years old. Every once in a while they'd get in a pinch and, you know, they'd just take a chance and send me down to like, you know, Farmington, New Mexico, Albuquerque, New Mexico. I was only 20. They just told me, don't get in trouble. Don't speed, whatever. But then I turned 21, and they couldn't get me on their insurance full time. So I just kept working in the plant. You know, I had no experience really, so their insurance was pretty picky and didn't want no part of it. So then started working at a popcorn line too. They were doing microwave popcorn at the time. So I started helping out over there, and they had a warehouse over on Martin Drive, which was, you know, 2 miles away from the main plant. So I started over there loading popcorn out on, you know, common carriers, you know, regular trucking companies, you know, and shipping that stuff all over. And then, yeah, things just kept kind of going like that. You know, I was good on the forklift and stuff. And I don't know. I got sick of the drive down there. It was 131 miles one way I drove. I lived in Malacca, and they were in Eden Prairie. So I drove 131 miles one way every day. You know, every day. And then I'd drive back home. Oh, I was getting so tired. You know, I was working 15, 18 hours a day, and, you know, then that big commute every day. And so then I decided that's enough of that. So then there was another company in Princeton, Minnesota, 15 minutes from my house. And they're like, yeah, you know, they had an opening for in the warehouse. So I went and applied for that. And, you know, I had a lot of forklift experience and stuff, so. And then I told them, you know, about the little bit of trucking I was doing, and they're like, oh, well, we can do that with you too, you know. Well, you know, we have displays we haul all over the place, and, you know, or stuff we needed help with. So, well, I quit at Deli then, Deli Express, and went to Crystal Cabinets, which was great. It was 4 12-hour days I worked there. Or 4 10-hour days, I guess. I can't remember. It was pretty long days. And then I worked longer too. And, you know, I'd go work on Saturday and all kinds of stuff. So I put a lot of time in there. And then I just wanted to go trucking. So there's a milk hauling outfit in town there. So I went over there one day after work and like, I don't remember, 7 o'clock at night. I figured I'd just drive by there. And I seen their shop door was open. So then I stopped, and then it was the owner of the company was in there, and mechanic, and a couple of drivers. They were having a beer, you know. I told them, I just walked up there and told them who I was, and said, would you like to get a job driving truck? He goes, well, we just had a guy quit today. He said, well, he quit or got fired. We don't know which it is. He goes, when can you start? I'm like, well, I was having trouble with insurance. He was like, oh, he said, my insurance will probably take you, you know. So then I put my notice in at Crystal Cabinets. I think I give them 2-week notice. I can't remember. Maybe it was a week. I really don't remember. Or maybe I don't want to say. I'm not sure. Maybe I didn't give them any notice. You know, I was young. So then got the paperwork, everything done over there with the milk outfit. Super nice people. I liked them a lot to start with. They were pretty good. And but anyways, my first day, I'm supposed to follow this other driver, pulling a belly dump. That's what I was going to be doing. Belly dumping's what I started doing. Wanted to do the milk tanker, but so I started out belly dumping. Can't remember the guy's name. He's just a buffoon. I didn't like him. He gets into the truck I'm taking, and he starts telling me how to start it. It was a Mack, like a 1976 R model Mack, 300 horse Mack engine in it. And he starts telling me how to start it, and he had trouble once. He had to pull that truck, and it started in running backwards, which they would do that back then. But anyways, he's explaining how to release the brakes. I'm like, I know that. Let's go. So he climbs out of the truck. We talk a little bit, and then he walks up to his truck. I jumped in, and it was running, and released the brakes, and I went to put it in gear, and it's got 2 shift levers. I was like, oh, shit. Yeah, the old devil had a 5 and a 4 in it. And I was scared to death. I didn't know what gear to get it in, but I got it. I think we went up by Alexandria, Minnesota, from Princeton. We worked up there all day. And then it was just for the day. And then we were going to have us someplace else different days. So we drove all the way up there, worked a 12-hour shift, I think, 12 or 14 hours we worked on the job site up there. Drove all the way back to Princeton. Got back to Princeton, found out I had to be back to the shop at 3 in the morning. It's already like midnight. I've been up for like forever. I was like, holy crap. So that ended up, went all summer long. He was getting ready to lay us off, and they had 3 milk trucks, tankers. He had a bunch of farm trucks too. But he had 3 tankers. He had 2 out of Forston, Minnesota, and then they had 1 out of Bach. So then I didn't want to get laid off. I had, new babies at home and stuff. I had 2 kids at that time. I didn't want to sit around all winter and do nothing. So I went and asked, I was like, well, when I started here, I wanted to drive the milk tankers. And ended up on the belly dump. But I did that all summer. I told him I didn't wreck nothing. It went pretty good. So then he's like, well, he goes, let me think about it. Next day, then he called me. He goes, yeah, he goes, we're going to put you on milk tanker pulling out a Bach. You ain't going to believe this part, but I was pulling out a Bach to Le Sueur, Minnesota, They paid $40 a round. $40 a round, and I'd get 2 or 3 of them every day. And you always had to get back to Bach to get the clean out load, so the silo was empty so they could wash and get ready for the farm milk coming in that next day. So then, oh, that was horrible. Oh my God. Yeah, I drove tractor 520 was the truck number. Whenever that thing went down, I got a 86 Superliner. Oh, that was a nice Mack day cab. Oh, it was sharp. I'd probably have to look around. I probably got some video on VCR tapes of that thing, but my mom ended up getting cancer, and that was a bad deal. She was 45. They gave her 3 months to live, which for me, doing that milk tanker, it was a nice deal because, I pretty much went right through Malacca, so I could stop and see her in between loads and hang out with my family, with my mother. She declined and stuff. And that outfit I was working for, they were real nice about all that. They'd always ask how I'm doing, how my mom's doing, and that kind of stuff meant a lot to me. And then, my mom died then in January. But, I was going to stay with these people forever. I really liked how, they cared. I was just a young kid and, losing my mother and stuff, But anyway, so, in summertime, then I heard, the wife was pregnant with the third kid. So then, I told them about it, my job, and yeah, I got a kid going to be born October. I told them that's when the wife was due. Oh, great, yeah, well, good, congratulations, and this and that. And so then, can't remember how it went. They were going to induce her. So then in October, they went to induce her, and they sent us home. Well, I was supposed to work the next day, and then next day her water broke, middle of the night or whatever it was. Boy, I got an ass chewing from them. It's kind of short notice, they told me. It turned out they weren't as nice as I thought they were. Oh my God, I got an ass ripping for short notice on, my kid being born. And I told them, well, I ain't going in the truck. Got to be at the hospital, I'm going to be there. So then, I was furious. That really pissed me off, And they knew the whole time, I was going to be having a baby. But they thought I should be in that truck hauling that damn $40 loads, So then, started making some phone calls. I told them, piss off, I'm not going. Told her, fire me, whatever you got to do. I'm not leaving the hospital, so. They called the hospital a few times, mad, trying to get me to go. It just, every time they called, it just burned me up more and more and more. So then, started calling around. Ended up found an owner-operator that'll hire me. He had 3 trucks. Beautiful trucks. They were T600s that he had. So I got very nice T600, had a studio sleeper on it. 444 Cummins, 18 speed. It was a big horse, And so I got into that, the milk hauling. I did like 1 or 2 days and before I even took that job with that owner-operator. But I was talking to him, and I knew I was going to get on there. And It's another good advice. Don't just go work for piddly ass little owner operators either. You're gonna get screwed over bad. But anyways, I was stopping at the office to fuel up, and then the guy's wife that owned the company just come unglued on me again. So I just went and grabbed my shit out of the truck, put it in my pickup, went home. You guys are mad I missed a day. How you gonna like this? And so I went home. Next morning, then I called that guy, that owner operator. He's like, oh, he says, well, I got a guy give me a month's notice. That's a truck I'm gonna put you in. He goes, so it's gonna be a while. I was like, son of a bitch. I said, I lost my temper and quit my other job. He's like, well, I got a cab over. And that was 81 Freightliner cab over, double bunk, not near the truck that I was driving for the LA Express. I hadn't even seen it, so yeah, I guess I'll drive that for a month, whatever. What a POS. Oh my God. That thing shouldn't even been on the road, but I was running it all over the place. Then I got in the other truck and I was getting ripped off of money, paycheck bounced once, and that was the end of that. I worked there probably close to a year. And when my paycheck bounced, my dispatcher, the guy he hired to dispatch the trucks, he quit too, same time, or got fired. I think the rumor was he got fired, but I had his home number, so I called him, and I was like, what the hell's going on? He goes, well, I'm out of there. He goes, if you need anything, call the owner. So then next day, then that guy told the owner I'd called him wondering what's going on, and he's been out of shape, and I'm like, dude, your fucking check bounced. We don't even need to talk, So then, where did I go after that? Friend of mine. No. Where in the hell did I go there? I don't remember where the hell I went after. Ox, Overnight Express. Yeah, I went to Overnight Express. They were out of St. Paul. They were a big carrier back in the day, and they were a good carrier back in the day. When I went there, they were real big in the lease purchase, and I mean, that company was no good anymore. They wanted everybody working for nothing. But anyways, the first trip, I got the truck out of St. Paul. They were down there off University Avenue in St. Paul. But I picked up the truck. They gave me a brand new truck. I took an empty trailer, went up to Frigidaire in St. Cloud. They made all your refrigerators and freezers and Frigidaire crap up there. And picked up a load. I went out to Maryland, out by Baltimore. North of Baltimore, but not quite up into New Jersey. So I delivered them, and then they're like, oh, we ain't got nothing. You'll have to sit. So I sat, 5-6 days. I thought it was great. I had a brand new truck, We had a APU on there. This was years ago when those things first came out. But I sat there like a week. I picked up a load up there, went to Georgia. Sat down in Georgia for 4 or 5 days. Now it's going on 3 weeks since I've been home, Then got a load out of, they bounced me back up into West Virginia, picked up a load. It only went like 190 miles up into Ohio. Got that off, and he's like, yeah, we're trying to find you something to go get you home. And I'm thinking already, this ain't gonna work out, No. I get back, I'm done. I'm sitting around, I'm eating more than I'm making, But anyways, they sent me back to West Virginia, picked up another load. And I went up into Michigan, and I'm like, well, I'm getting closer. got to Michigan, and nope, they had another load going back to West Virginia, I think, or Maryland. Maybe it was Maryland. And I'd filled my tanks, run the mileage back to St. Paul. So I topped my tanks off with their fuel card and called in empty up, or I called back and told them, no, I'm not going to go to Baltimore. They're like, yeah, you gotta. I said, nope. So one thing you don't know that I know, you would shut my fuel card off if I just go home. But I said, I just filled the tanks up on this thing. It's going home. So either you find a load going to Minnesota or it's going there empty. I don't care. I'm done. Told them, you guys ruined a very good company. It was a good company when I was a kid, They had a lot of swanky owner-operators there, and everybody's making money. And I knew a guy, that was on there years ago, and he done really good. He was East Coast and back to Minnesota. And so then, they found me a load of batteries, junk batteries. They went to Gopher Smelting in Eagan, Minnesota. And this was on Thursday night I got loaded. So then I told them on Friday, I'm just bringing it to the yard. I said, I ain't come back down for Monday. I said, I'm over you guys, So I took the truck and loaded right back to Eagan, got my pickup, went home. Then there was a spell there I was at Transport America. No, I pulled for a friend of mine for a little bit with his truck, flatbed, with a pretty swanky flatbed outfit out of Minnesota. It's not no more. They're still there, but the owner of that's a dink too. You really got to watch where you go when you're new. But I did that for about 6 months. And then there was some weird stuff going on. The guy a friend of mine, owned the truck, he acted kind of weird. And then I met another guy. Well, he lived in Pease, but, I went to school with his son-in-law. He was married to Jan was her name, but, I stopped and met my dad once in Portage, Wisconsin. I was driving a big swanky Peterbilt. That thing was beautiful, Run into that guy, and right away he told me, oh, God, this truck is beautiful. He's looking it over. He said, my father-in-law just bought it. I'm like, what? Your father-in-law bought it? I said, yeah, he owns this now. He's looking the truck all over, and my dad was there. I felt like an idiot, So then got back up cities, unloaded the flatbed. I took it to a friend's house. He had a nice place. I was like, yeah, fucking run into so-and-so, and he told me Mitch bought the truck. He says, yeah, he did. And I'm like, well, I don't like that. I'm like, well, that's your new boss, he told me. That's your new boss. So then I went home. And I was like, well, I asked him too, well, who the fuck's paying me now for this week? A friend of mine, he paid me. As soon as I got back, he paid, And he treated me good, other than selling me like a slave. But then he goes, nope, you got to get that from Mitch. That was the guy's name that bought the truck. He's like, here's his number. Call him, he'll have your money. So then I got home, I called Mitch. We didn't have cell phones. This was, oh God, a long time ago. So I got home, and I called Mitch. Told him, well, I don't like how this went down. He's like, well, he goes, the only reason I bought the truck is you're driving it and doing a good job. And I'm like, well, I feel like I'm a slave. Maybe somebody should have talked to me beforehand, but I told him, I heard you owe me some money. He didn't want me to quit. He jumped in his pickup. He was right at my house like in 10 minutes, He lived like 9 miles away. So he came and settled up with me for the week. He tried to get me to stay. No, just give me a bad taste in the mouth. So I didn't do that. And then I sat around home there about a week, making phone calls, trying to find work. So then talking to people. That's how you did stuff back then with trucking. You talk to people. We didn't have internet or none of that crap. None of that stuff like you guys got nowadays, So then some dude called me. He lived in Foley, owner-operator. He owned 2 trucks, 2 trailers, and he had an owner-operator pulling for him. I was like, well, I've been on that road before. He goes, no, you ain't been on the road with me, he says. So then we talked. Next day he called. We talked some more. And I was like, well, anything we can meet. I said, you need a driver. He needed somebody right now. I said, and I had nobody to work for, so let's go have dinner. So we went and had dinner. He was an all right guy. And he goes, yeah, it's a dedicated round. I load potatoes in Minnesota, go to Malone, God, what was that? Robinson Potato in Kansas City, Kansas. Unload there, and then reload, same frickin' potatoes, but reload them there. Go to South Haven, Mississippi, to Malone and Hayden. It's a grocery warehouse. Unload there and go to Pine Bluff, Arkansas, and load bags for potatoes. There were paper bags I got there. And then I'd run up to Kansas City, Kansas, to Central Bag. I loaded burlap bags, 100-pound bags for potatoes, and came right back up Minnesota. That was great. God, that was just every week, bam, bam, bam. I was doing that round in like 3 days. Things were a little different back then, but and then, then it got slow. So then I could have went to Texas, start down in the valley, haul potatoes to Kansas City, and load my Mississippi load and do it that way. And I'm like, no, I'll be out forever. I ain't doing that. So he goes, oh, I don't blame you. So he gave me a notebook full of all of the brokers he had contracts with and deals with, a notebook. And he put them all in categories where they are in the whole United States. And he said, well, go do whatever you want, until potatoes start up here again. And so I was running around doing my own thing, booking my own loads, and I was in charge of my life. I was driving a big swanky W900, pulling a 48-foot spread axle empty trailer. No, it was utility. Yeah, it was utility trailer, but it was nice. It was a beautiful trailer, beautiful setup. I did that for quite a while, and wanted something more. I was enjoying that part of it. And potato season was come back around, and I really didn't feel like that. I wanted to go trucking. I wanted to keep on trucking like I was. So then a friend of mine was lease purchase on with Q Carriers out of Shakopee. Q Carriers was their name. And he's like, oh, come down here, you can they'll get you a truck, and they deduct everything out of your check, and I'm still making money. And I was like, yeah, I'd like to get that step. I tried to buy trucks, but credit wasn't very good. I was just a kid, and I just couldn't get one bought. So went down to Q Carriers. Randy Queering was the guy's name that owned that company. God, he was a good guy. He had another guy, Greg Gorvin, kind of running the show there, like Randy's second-hand guy, and he was a lease purchase guy, so did a contract with him, and I bought, it was pretty new. It was a 93 Freightliner FLD. Had a 4 1/4 cat in it. you know, 13 speed. It was a nice truck. It was bright green, flat top. But anyway, so I run that truck around for about a year. I drove that truck. And actually, for lease purchase, I was still making good money. You know, that you owed them so much at the beginning, I just went hog wild. And whatever I owed them, I told them, you just take it. License fund and escrow, just take it. You know, I'd get a little bit of money, what I needed for at home. And I've been a company driver, not making very good money, so I was doing okay. So then I got everything paid off way ahead of time. And then met my dad at Stockman's truck stop in St. Paul. You know, because I was driving that lease purchase truck. He goes, oh, they got a nice Freightliner cab over at the Ford dealer over here. We should go look at it. I'm like, I can't buy it. So we went and looked at it. And Dad, salesman, you know, out there. And Dad's like, yeah, he needs to buy a truck. He's got a lease purchase truck right now. Been driving it for a year. The guy's going, you doing okay with that? I said, yeah, going okay. And so then filled out some paperwork. And the next day they called it was mine. Well, I'll have to get back to you. It sounds like I'm getting finished up here.